bread. Lifting vegan logical. If there's one thing we can agree on, we can agree that I'm stupid. I have very few interesting things to say, but I know animals suffer. Animals should be free. And we need to worry about the climate. I am molesting this cauliflower. Getting your nipples out, people. They look glorious. I brought my train, myself up here on a train, sucking on a massive cock, as I do on a daily basis. One moment. I am going to nut. It's the Holocaust. You eat a cow. It's the Holocaust, you murderers. Look how pigs are treated. This is inhumane. Abattoirs. Animals die. You are no longer allowed to eat meat. This is insane. Look at this meat eater, virtually naked. I don't want to see your armpit. Put it down. I would just like this house to join Team Vegan. I so support vegans. I love you. The meat eaters lie. They lie. They lie straight to your faces because they have a certain dress style, or they have a certain doctorate, or they have about 1 follower on Instagram. They lie to you. And that is true of every single meat eater I know. They hate themselves so much, they will only suck on nipples for sustenance. I commend you for sucking nipples. This thing is in fact a steak. Animals should be free to decide how they live their lives. 500 students eat my festering ass. And the most vital point I came here to make. Let me tell you this. I know what I need. What I need is a mighty, meaty, pure vegan cock. Huh? I love meat, sir. I love it. And all I plea from you as a tolerant individual is to give me your member. So I encourage you, I ask you, I implore you from my icicle little frosty soul to go vegan. Thank you so much for listening to me. I am molesting this cauliflower.
Nice to meet you. Thank you so much for sitting down and talking to me. You've been patiently waiting, so I appreciate that. There's a banner here that says, can you justify not being vegan? You've come sit down with me, so presumably there's something that you have in your mind that maybe justifies not being vegan.
Yes. Protein.
Delight talking to you.
Yeah, it was delight talking to you too.
Have a great day.
You too.
And enjoy your life. I'll probably
Thank
never
you so
see
much.
you again,
too.
but take it easy.
I'll come back around here sometime.
Perfect.
Thank you so much for your conversation.
You're welcome. Thanks for the polite debate. I appreciate it. Take care.
Fingers ahoy!
Children may not have eaten a dead fish staring up at them on a plate, but they would definitely eat a finger recommended by a captain.
All have new coats.
They taste great, mate.
It's a marvelous magical Burger King.
Now watch me, kids, when I twist my rings like magic.
We're at Burger King.
Parents were charmed by characters like the Burger King, preferring to think of him as a magical king rather than someone just dressed like that to detract from the genocide.
We want Burger King, yay!
Okay, now smile and say cheeseburger.
Cheeseburger.
And Ronald McDonald's hair was red because he was a clown, not because he couldn't stop swimming in blood.
Not till you learn to smile.
Time now for our regular Listen Up segment where we debate an issue of public interest. Tonight we're looking at veganism. There was a time when a plant-based diet was the preserve of a tiny minority of people, but in recent years it's boomed in popularity. Tonight's proposition comes from Ed Winters, who's an author and vegan educator. And Ed joins us to debate his arguments with the beef and sheep farmer Martin Kennedy, who's president of the National Farmers Union Scotland. Thank you both very much indeed for joining us. Ed, to you first of all. You say that animal farming, the animal farming industry is outdated and violent. Is that really the case?
I mean, absolutely it is. When we look at animal suffering and animal harm and indeed animal death, no other industry on the planet causes more unnecessary suffering and harm to animals than the animal farming industries. And so it is definitely a violent industry.
Martin, what's your response to that? It's outdated, violent, and it causes unnecessary harm to animals.
It's such a shame that we're seeing or hearing such an ill-informed, blinkered approach to this. That's not the case at all. If we were to treat animals in the way that we're actually treating human beings in society just now, and I'm not just talking about the situation we have in Ukraine, but we treat human beings in a serious manner just now, we would be locked up if we treated animals in the way we're actually treating people in society right now. You know, we need people to have food, we need people to have water and shelter. That's not happening in many parts of society just now. We are proud of our animal health and welfare standards in Scotland and the whole of the UK. We have, and we've rightly claimed to have some of the highest animal health and welfare there is right across the world. And we look after our animals for a good reason.
I mean, Ed, and what evidence have you got to suggest that it's outdated and violent? I mean, Martin's saying it's the UK standards are excellent.
Well, I mean, Martin says that we wouldn't do things to humans that we do to animals, but we do put animals in gas chambers. In fact, 90% of the pigs in the UK are killed in gas chambers where they're gassed to death using an aversive concoction of carbon dioxide. On top of that, of course, all the other animals we kill at a fraction of their lifespan by cutting their throats. We selectively breed animals so that they reach slaughter weight, like chickens, in 6 weeks and die of organ failure, and ammonia from the farms that they are kind of kept in burns their eyes and even can cause blindness. So actually, no, the way that we treat humans in society is significantly better because we don't gas humans in the UK. And of course, we don't put them into slaughterhouses at 6 months old or 18 months old in the case of beef cattle and cut their throats.
Martin, do you want to respond to that? Because what Ed's describing is horrific.
Yeah, it is absolutely horrific. This is not the case at all. And when you look at the welfare that's done through abattoirs that's carried out now, we're not the same as what happens maybe in some other parts of the world. That is not happening here. And we rely on that readily source of protein, zinc, iron, vitamin B12 that is readily available through red meat. And we need that source of red meat to be there for the benefit of our health, for the benefit of the climate, for the benefit of biodiversity. The backdrop that's behind me is not like that for no reason. That's been a managed landscape with livestock for hundreds of years. That's why it's there. We have a tremendous biodiversity in Scotland. Yes, we can do more. We've got to do more to address climate change. But the reality is, when Ed's talking about emissions, he's also incorrect there as well, because the way the emissions is calculated, biogenic methane that's emitted by not just animals, but it's also emitted by decaying plants as well. That biogenic methane is actually recycled back into the ground where it originally came from. So methane, albeit it is more damaging when it's in the atmosphere, it's only there for about 12 to 15 years, and that methane breaks down to carbon and water and sequestered back into the soil where it originally came from.
Yeah, I mean, Ed, what's your response to that? Martin saying it's not detriment, it's not causing a damage to the environment, or as much as people say.
Well, firstly, when the methane's in the environment, that's when it's causing the warming, and that methane wouldn't exist if it wasn't for the existence of the animals in the first place. So that biogenic carbon cycle that Martin's describing is utterly nonsense, to be honest with you, because the global warming happens when it's in the environment. But I also just want to go back to what Martin was saying, because Martin was saying that things that I described happening to animals don't happen here. And I'm absolutely shocked to hear that the head of the Scottish National Farmers Union could lie so blazingly and so boldly on television, because everything I've just described, or I described in that moment, is standard practice in the UK. That figure, about 90% of pigs being killed in gas chambers, comes from DEFRA. So I'm not sure how Martin could deny the existence of the things that I described when they are standard legal practices outlined by the UK government and outlined by even the National Farmers Union, who he supposedly represents.
Let Martin respond to that accusation, please. Martin.
What I was arguing was that you were saying this is a brutal way of slaughter. That is not the case. Every possible thing is done for the benefit of the animals' welfare in a slaughterhouse, and we've got some of the best slaughterhouses in the world. And that's done, and the reason they're gassed, that's done, and they were stunned for that reason. So that there is no, so that the benefit of the animal welfare is absolutely paramount, and we've been driven to do that for a long time now, and we're actually proud to do that.
Ed, hang on a second. Let's move on to some other areas of the argument. What about the fact that there's so many jobs that are dependent on the animal farming industry in the UK, Ed?
Well, firstly, I don't think that we could ever say that gas chambers are a pleasant way to be killed. But beyond that point, there are also other ways that we can find employment.
And for those who really couldn't let go, human women began selling their milk on the street.
I don't know what you want me to say.
Is now the time to really ban promotions on cheap meat? Well, folks, we're going to debate this now. I'm delighted to say I'm joined by Matthew Appleby, author of Super Organic Gardener, Vegan Garden, and farmer Gareth Wynne Jones, and animal rights activist Joey Carbstrong. Gareth, how hard would you be hit if Joey, we're going to come to Joey in a second, but if Joey and his clan got their way and actually your industry was redundant, you're done for?
They're about 3 to 5% of the population, so I'm not worried about little Joey, to be honest with you. What we carry on is, we get the support. The majority of the British public are behind us. And, I was getting maybe £4 a kilo last 2 years ago. We're up to £6 and £7 a kilo for lamb. The demand's out there. Everybody's shouting. Everybody's shouting for it. Everybody's shouting for it. Everybody's shouting for it because they know it's sustainable. It's really healthy for you. It's full of top quality protein. It's full of top quality protein. It's full of top quality protein, nutrition, all the vitamins you want, all the vitamins you want, all the vitamins you want. So, I'm not worried one iota about Joey and his little gang, to be honest with you.
Joey, I'm going to let you come in now. Are you worried about the impact that encouraging the British people to get off meat would actually have on farmers and actually some of the poorest people in society that would have to potentially go for more expensive vegan-friendly products?
Listen, you're talking about banning the promotion of cheap meat, and this Gareth guy's got one of these small holding farms where, it doesn't represent the majority of farming in the UK anyway. Of the billion chickens that are slaughtered here every year in this country, 95% of them are factory farmed. And over the last 16 weeks, none of them have been let out because of bird flu. So you're talking about factory farmed animals predominantly. Over 90% of the pigs here are factory farmed, and they're killed in gas chambers, one of the cruelest ways to die. And no animal welfare organisation denies that. So Gareth represents, he called us 3 to 5%. Gareth actually represents a small percentage of what the meat that's actually eaten. And if you're worried about expensive, then this grass-fed, small-holding, free-range, unaccessible meat is one of the most expensive foods you can basically buy. And also, the cheapest foods in the supermarket, the rice, the beans, the oats, the lentils, are some of the cheapest, some of the cheapest. And you're laughing there. Do you think gas chambers are funny, Garth?
Yeah, Gareth, I'll just let you come in on that.
Little Joey, you just make me laugh, honestly. You've got no idea. You've got no idea. Look, I run...
what did I say that's false?
Okay? 4,000 ewes. Okay? We've got 300 head of cattle. It's a partnership, it's a business, it's not a factory farm. The majority of the animals in this country are outside, mate. They're outside.
No, they're not. The chickens, where do the chickens live, mate? They haven't been outside for 16 weeks because of bird flu, and 95% of them are factory farmed. These aren't even my stats. Look them up yourself. Over 800 mega-style US farms in the UK, over 800. So you're telling me that all of these are out on grass? You're part of the problem, see? You're the one who's propagating these humane lies to the public. They go in the supermarket and they think it's all green grass and pastures. I investigate these farms. I do it all the time. I'm in there seeing the chickens dying on their faces. They go into gas chambers. You think it's funny? Pigs die in gas chambers, 86% of them. That's a DEFRA stat, and they suffer in these gas chambers to death. And you're laughing because you think it's funny. How would you like to trade places with these animals, Gareth?
I'm laughing at you. You have got no idea.
I'm laughing at you. I'm laughing at you. You send lambs to the slaughterhouse.
Listen, you're sitting in your vegan world. You've got no idea how your food's produced. I bet you don't grow it.
I'm an investigator. I investigate these farms all the time. We research these farms.
You say talk over each other. No one's going to hear anything. No one's going to hear anything.
Produce my vegetables on my plate than it does for my meat. One cow will feed many, many families for a long time. So you get your facts right. You're living in cuckoo land, mate.
Right, guys. Matthew, I want to bring you in on what you've just heard there. Do you actually think that this country is quite unique in buying these forms of meat and farming that are actually of detriment to both the environment and indeed animals? Because we are painted as being a nation of animal lovers, aren't we?
Well, no, I mean, I'm kind of moderate. I'm kind of in between there. I think some people will always eat meat, and I don't think, I wouldn't say ban anything. But at the same time, there's an environmental cost. Animals don't want to die, and as Joey says, chickens stuck in battery farms. That's cruel. I mean, that's full stop. You can't argue that that's not cruel.
Well, I would totally agree with those sentiments as well. That's where I think there would be broad agreement. But what I will say is on the actual question that were posed there at the very start of this discussion, I actually worry that banning promotional offers on meat does mean that people are going to really struggle because, as you say, Matthew, people are not just going to stop eating meat, are they? I'm certainly not.
Well, I mean, the cheap protein comes from chicken, but, you know, the studies I mentioned earlier on say that, you know, not eating meat is cheaper than eating meat, no matter what level of society you're at. It's an education thing. The government needs to educate people how to cook. And during the pandemic, people learned how to cook. They didn't go out. They didn't, you know, eat their steak in the restaurant. You know, during the war, people lived healthier because they didn't get much meat. They didn't get much sugar. They had a government-controlled diet. I'm not saying have a government-controlled diet, but people should have a choice. But at the same time, because people get to choose what they get to eat, the big cost on the NHS.
Yes, that's the important.
The animals deserve a choice. That's what the animals deserve, a choice not to go into a slaughterhouse to have their head cut off for a sandwich. That is disgusting. And we're talking about 2022. We're still cutting off little lambs' heads for a steak or a lamb chop. Like, what is this? This is not civil.
Opposed to what, though, Joey? What are we supposed to eat instead? What would you like us to actually get our protein from?
Well, very good question, mate. I appreciate that. I've been vegan nearly 10 years and I eat whole grains, beans, legumes, fruits and vegetables, local fruits and vegetables. You know, there's no problem getting all of the nutrients you need. You can supplement B12. You don't have to stab a lamb in the throat to get B12 out of their blood. And you can live perfectly healthy without having a billion chickens in factory farms and slaughterhouses.
Right, okay, you've said that. Yes. I've heard about the chickens. Gareth, why should we actually ban cheap meat?
But this bloke's an absolute joke. He's got no idea, you know, where his food's coming from, how many creatures are dying for him to be fed. You know, I know because I'm a farmer. I'm in that field. You know, I see what dies for me to produce my salads, for my tomatoes. You know, everything has got a cost. Everything will have a death toll on it. And Joey sits there as the perfect, you know, person that thinks that he's saving, you know, in Manchester, buying his local produce. I bet he's never grown anything. I bet he's never put his hands in the soil. He hasn't got.
It's beside the point. It's beside the point. The animals that people eat plants, and those plants have a death toll to them too.
Artificial fertilizer, which has doubled. Okay, so we've gone from £240 per tonne to over £1,000 a tonne. Yeah. Half the food in the world is produced from artificial fertilizer. We need our livestock, we need our manure more than ever to go forward, to grow our vegetables, to grow our salads, to grow our crops.
Do you need slaughterhouses?
He doesn't understand this. He has to start to listen to the people that work in the land and that are feeding him every single day. Because that's what farmers are doing. We're feeding you, Joey.
You're killing animals against their will.
Please, last word to you.
Well, in Manchester here, there's a gas chamber that kills pigs and they scream. You can hear them screaming. It's aversive to them. I don't know how you justify that by saying, oh, we need their manure. Just because you need manure for the ground doesn't mean you need to murder all those animals in slaughterhouses. I mean, you just like to avoid the slaughterhouse, and a lot of people do. People like Gareth, they propagate humane lies to the public and they get sold this cheap meat. Factory farming is disgusting in this country, just like any other country. And I'm an investigator. I see it all the time, and I see all these false advertisements, and people just got to wake up.
Right. Joey Carbstrong, Gareth Wynne, and Jones, and Matthew Appleby, thank you very much for your time.
Dude, even vegans don't get your weird, stupid
arguments like these completely fell apart. With a scientific breakthrough so profound, many refused to believe it was even possible. Dr. Charles Grandage invented a machine that could read the general thoughts and feelings of other animals. Lucy the sheep was the catalyst for change nobody saw coming.
The voice we hear may sound familiar to older viewers. It is, in fact, the voice of the classical actor Joanna Lumley, who recorded every word in the English language before she died with enormous charm.
Why do you keep shaving me? I'm cold.
It was at this moment that everyone could see and hear that other animals like them had feelings. As the technology improved, all animals were fitted with internal thought translation devices.
I'm not a cheese factory. I am a goat. Why do you keep putting your fist inside my bum? Why are you still trying to make me ejaculate?
It was now clear that being vegetarian was simply not enough. Humans could no longer ignore what the other animals were saying to them, specifically about the ongoing theft of their liquids and potential children.
I think people did know that an egg was a chicken's period. But why not have a period for breakfast? I don't think people knew that wild hens only have 10 to 15 periods a year. Imagine being forced to have 20 times more periods than you were supposed to, and then being killed for lack of periods. It was beyond sexist.
Well, what is wrong with a cow being milked for milk?
It's unnecessary.
Why
do you need
like
breast milk?
Joey,
You need breast milk from a cow? You're not a baby cow. You're not a baby cow. For it, then you shouldn't be talking about it. You should.
We are humans.
But if you don't want me to show this, you're a hypocrite because I'm showing it because people pay for it. If you don't eat meat, you can tell me not to show it.
I eat meat.
You eat meat, then you're paying for it. I'm only showing it because you're paying for it.
I eat meat because it's food.
It's not food. It's violence. It's murdered animals. Here, take this. Do you want to try this? There's no animal in this, and if you don't, I can't tell the difference between this. Take it home, roast it up, have it with some vegetables. It's vegan. Where does calcium come from? Plants, originally. How does the cow get the calcium in their body? Plants. We can get calcium from plants.
Yeah,
what have you got against plants? Plants are living things.
They're not sentient. They don't have a central nervous system. Do you think stabbing a puppy dog in the throat is the same as cutting up a carrot?
How do you know what plants feel?
Do you think stabbing a puppy dog in the throat is the same as cutting up a carrot?
How do you know what plants feel?
They're not sentient. They don't have a central
How do you
nervous
know?
system. Because they don't have a brain or a central nervous system.
Do you accept they're living things?
They're living, but they're not sentient.
You don't mind slaughtering living plants?
Because they don't feel pain. Because they don't feel pain.
Plants are living things.
They're not sentient. They don't have a central nervous system. Do you think stabbing a puppy dog...
How do you know what plants feel?
Because they don't have a brain or a central nervous
they're
system.
living things?
They're living, but they're not sentient.
You don't mind slaughtering living plants?
I think you're talking. There's two types of conversations to have. One is about halal and how it's not really halal here in the UK.
What do you mean?
Well, because they're all the animals here are factory farmed, and those animals suffer horrible lives. And the dairy cows have their calves taken, and their calves are killed, and they suffer horrible lives. And then egg layer hens, they suffer horrible lives, and then they're suffering, and the halal is no suffering. If you get a McDonald's, the vegetable one.
Like cheese is not good for my gym.
So do you eat milk? I'm saying milk.
No, I don't eat milk and stuff.
No milk, no dairy. Okay.
It's not good for skin, innit? It gives you fat on the skin.
I agree with you. Yeah. I agree. It's not good for the cows either. It's not good for the cows either. We're just showing people what happens in the turkey industry. And
yeah, no, it's horrible, isn't it?
Yeah.
I'm vegetarian.
You're vegetarian. Well, this is a dairy cow. It's interesting. Not many people actually want to sign a petition to support the bacon industry. They actually think, why would you want to support that? But they do. They support it with their money. So they wouldn't sign a petition to support it, but they'll pay the store, pay the slaughterhouse, and pay the factory farm to support it.
New dairy product being launched.
Hi, come in and take a seat. Thanks for coming. So this is a focus group for a new dairy brand.
Would you like to try new milk?
Give it a try.
Can I taste it?
Yeah, it's for you. Tell me what you think. Have a taste.
Tastes kind of sweet as well.
Yeah. Sweet.
Well, Jersey milk is nice.
White. It seems whiter than white.
This is a smooth. It's like a milkshake, basically, but smooth.
That's regular cow's milk?
It's dog's milk.
What?
Fuck me.
What do you mean that's dog's milk?
Dog milk?
Milk for dogs?
Why you give me, I drink dog milk.
Do you mean that this is produced by a dog? You should have said that first.
Promoting dog milk now.
Dog milk.
Instead of cow milk.
Yes.
Shame.
Milk from dogs? Would you ever drink that madness?
No.
Never. Never. Would you drink it?
You know there's pus in cow's milk.
What do you mean by pus? Is it like a fence?
Like pus, like stuff you get from boils.
Oh my God, are you kidding?
No.
Wow.
There will be a big advertising campaign that will explain all of this.
Don't use that picture.
It's disgusting.
Are you being serious?
Bread.